Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to talk about why Trump makes poor decisions. Have you ever been driving near a school and seen one of those radar stations that tells you how fast you're going? There's no cop near it, it's just the radar and the flashing light telling you how fast you're going. What do you do when you see one of those? Almost everybody slows down. Why? Why? It's not new information, it's on your dashboard. Why do you slow down? It's feedback loop. The information was presented to you in a way that resonated emotionally. Feedback loop has 4 stages. The action, that action gets measured, stored, gets presented back in a way that emotionally resonates, and it highlights options. In this case, slow down. It can be used to create good behavior. Can also be used to create negative behavior. What do we know about Trump? I mean, like, really, what do we know? When you think Trump, you think ego. Man has a huge ego, right? Name in gold everywhere. He's a stable genius with infinite wisdom. He's infallible. Huge ego. What else do we know? He's a poor consumer of information. People who watch this channel are going to say, yeah, he's retweeting Fox and other far-right outlets all the time. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But his intelligence briefings, we've had people talk about how he kind of drifts off in them. Doesn't always attend them. He's a poor consumer of information. And then, yeah, he does have that diet of far-right internet and TV news. What if the reason he makes bad decisions is because there's 2 feedback loops colliding? We've talked about it on this channel before, how a lot of pundits try to out-sensationalize each other. And it just gets wilder and wilder in their defense of Trump or in whatever it is that they're covering. They try to come up with a take that's going to get those clicks, going to get those views, going to sensationalize more and more and more. It's a cycle. That's one feedback loop that exists. Given what we know about President Trump, that may play a very large part in his decision making. He undertakes an action. That action is measured and stored by the news outlet, by the pundit. It's relayed back to him because he watches it. Because these people are generally trying to show how loyal they are to the president and cheerlead him on, they take positions that are more extreme than the president in an attempt to make him seem less extreme. And they highlight an option. They give him that option to be even more extreme, to take it a step further. They're reinforcing the idea that everything he's doing is right, so he continues along that path. That's his feedback loop. That's his feedback loop, and it explains so much. It explains why after that debate, he said he wasn't going to change anything because the polls show that he won. No, they didn't. The only polls that showed him winning were the ones where it was like vote on the internet polls. Not scientific in the least. But that's the information he consumes. And we don't know that he knows the difference, to be honest. We have no clue that he's aware that those polls are not accurate. So he thinks he did a good job. He thinks he won. That's why I didn't want any changes to the debate. Because in his feedback loop, he won. Let's take it to some other stuff. The food boxes that the government's sending out. These things are pretty much despised by everybody. However, because his cheerleaders in the right-wing media have heralded it as this great thing, he actually put a letter in them saying that he was responsible for them. He mailed a letter to voters saying he was responsible for something that they don't like. But he doesn't know this because he's in that feedback loop. That's what he sees. Carries through other stuff. Shortly after a majority of Americans decided seeing a station alight was at least somewhat justified, the president started talking about law and order. Because in the right-wing media, it was cheered on. Even though the majority of Americans do not like the way law enforcement is behaving right now. As this feedback loop goes on, it actually ends up working against his campaign because he ends up catering to a smaller and smaller, a more extreme group of people. It's probably why he's dropping in the polls the way he is. Let's talk about one other thing. The president initially downplayed the public health thing. And then his cheerleaders took it even further, and he followed suit. Part of the reason the president is in the state that he is in is because of this feedback loop. Because they fed into it. They rejected everybody who knows what they're talking about to cheer him on. It put him where he's at right now. Because it reinforced those negative decisions he was making. It's an interesting theory. I don't know that it's true. I don't know that it's accurate, really. But the sign of an enlightened mind is the ability to entertain an idea without accepting it. With this in mind, it may be that Trump isn't evil. He's just easily manipulated. I mean, it doesn't change what needs to happen in November. I would suggest that an easily manipulated commander-in-chief's probably not a good thing. But it's definitely it's something to take note of. And it's also something to watch out for in your life. Are the feedback loops that you are in, are they encouraging growth and good behavior? Making yourself better? Expanding who you are? Or are they negative feedback loops? Are they feeding you praise for things you shouldn't be doing? That you know you shouldn't be doing, more than likely. But the loop that you're in is cheering you on. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.